Hey everyone, this is part 2 of project 2. So we are going to install an FTP client so that we can access from the Windows 10 machine our FTP files. And we're also going to use a product called Wireshark. Now in order to do all of these, we need to be able to grab some files from our memory stick. So we have a few files in there. We'll need the FTP client, and we'll need Wireshark, and then we'll probably need this tool called Nmap if we have enough time to get into it. But there's no way that we can just copy and paste it into there. So if I try something like drag and drop, for example, right, if I wanted to copy this and I want to paste it into my Windows 10 VM, you can't do it. So there's a couple of things we have to do. First of all, go to the VirtualBox and go to Settings, and then go to Advanced and make sure that the Share Clipboard and Drag and Drop are set to bidirectional. Okay. Similarly, Windows 10, go to Settings, go to Advanced, and make sure that it's set to bidirectionally. By default they're disabled, but I set them to bidirectional. So we can have drag and drop communication between the machines and the host, and we can copy and paste those files so that we can run them. Alright, so that's the first step. The next step is we have to go to each machine and install something called the additions, guest additions. So go ahead and go to Devices on the server, and then we'll do the workstation. Go to Insert Guest Additions. Okay. And pretty soon you're going to see that a CD-ROM is going to pop up over here. There it is. Virtual Guest Additions. Okay. And then just double click it. It will be this one, the x86. Ooh, 64-bit, so it should be the one on the top here. Alright, so yeah, we're running 64-bit operating system, so we cannot run the x86. Alright, just click Next, Next, Install. So this is going to install a whole bunch of extras so that VirtualBox can work better. Just click Install. Let's go to our workstation and do the same thing. Go to Devices, Insert Guest Additions. Okay, and there's our virtual CD with the additions. Double click VirtualBox Windows Additions. You need administrator rights to install this. Okay, you can right click on it and say Run as Administrator and put in user 1 and type in the CSULB password. If that doesn't work, then we have to use the server username and password. Okay, so it would be the server, which is of the Walter domain, which is administrator. This is why it's good to have machines join your domain, because you can control what the users can install and what they cannot install. So this is administrator, and for the password it's the same one, CSULB 1949. Okay, as long as you always remember that you have a domain, you have administrators, and then you have users of the computers too. So I'll click yes, and let's proceed with the installation. Okay, so you can see that installs like generic drivers and those kinds of things. Alright, so let's see what happened to our... Okay, so our server is done. Reboot. Yep, let's reboot it. We may have to reboot the entire host, but we'll give it a try first. Alright, so let's see, reboot our workstation also. Alright, so our workstation is up. Let's go in. Let's open up a file here. And let the workstation completely start. Okay, so I'm gonna say copy. And if I come here, still grayed out, so I may have to reboot the entire host as well in order for this to work. Okay, so let's shut everything down and let's do another reboot of the entire host and operating system. Okay, now that the computers have been fully booted, right, we have our server, we have our workstation running. I gave it a try and it did not work. I tried to copy from our good friend here, C drive locally, ET497 projects. So project 2, I try to copy that one file to the local here and it did not work. That one was previously from the local machine, so it's not the same file. So there's another way to do this, and that is we can mount over here a folder from our host. So I can go devices, share folder settings, and on machine folders I can say, hey, let's add this, and I would like to add our folder. Now I can grab something from my local machine like C drive, and I have my ET497 projects, project 2, and I can say I want to select that folder, auto mount, so that it mounts it automatically. You can also say make permanent, so you always have it in there, and click OK, and you should see the folder pop up over here automatically. So now I can drag and drop files from here into the workstation here. So I told you that I needed an FTP client, so I like to copy that one. I also need Wireshark. We'll put it in there. Actually, we can run Wireshark on the server, not necessarily on the workstation, but I'll leave it there just in case. And there's also a product called Nmap, and you can also copy that. Alright, I'm going to install the FTP client first. Double click, Core FTP. Remember, you got to put in your administrator from the server, because the server is controlling your computer now. And it's our CSULB 1949, capital C. Just say agree, install. Okay, so close, and let's run it. So it's called Core FTP. It should appear in the list here. Okay. Alright, so it got installed, but it doesn't appear there, so let's look for it over here. This is such an old program that we'll have to find it. So I must have put it under program files. x86 is a 32-bit software, so Core FTP, and you can copy the Core FTP program and you can paste it as a shortcut. So now I have it on the desktop. Double click it. We're going to connect to our FTP server from here. So I can transfer files between here and the server. Make FTP default client, yes, fine, yes, for the editor. Okay, and we have our server 1, which has an IP address of 192.168.1.100. Our user 1 has the right to FTP to it. We're going to use our password. And remember that it's port 21 that connects to it. So we should be able to hit connect. And now we're connected to our server, FTP server. And remember we had those 2 files in there on our FTP site. And that was our default site. Let's go back and look at the server here. Let's go keyboard integration. We can log on. And we have our FTP server that we managed through our tools. Right, and it should be the Internet Information Services, and one of the sites is our FTP server, right? And so you can look at the basic information and what it is that we have under that FTP folder, which are those 2 files, right? So now, but we're now able to access them on our Windows 10 machine through here. Alright, so we can also transfer files from here to the server. So why don't we do that right now? Let's grab our Wireshark and Nmap. I don't know if I can drag and drop into the server. Let's see. It looks like I can. So I was able to, oh, it's still doing it. So still transferring between the Windows 10 computer. I drag and drop some files into the server. And there you go. So if I go to the server, right, I'm on the server, there's my 2 folders. So I'll just grab them here and then I'll put them under downloads so they're easier to run from downloads. So on the server I didn't need to do anything because I was able to configure my Windows 10 machine to access the server. Alright, so pretty neat stuff, right? Alright, so let's install now Wireshark on the workstation and let's run it. In the meantime, alright, here we go again, administrator. By the way, you can add the user Walter or the user 1 into the administrator folder of the workstation if you don't want them to ask for password all the time. So the computer has a folder that you can add users to it so that they can become administrators of the workstation. But for now, let's do this. CSULB 1949 and Wireshark desktop icon. Install NCAP, yeah. Install USB cap, no, we don't need that. While that installs, I'll leave the FTP. We'll go back to it, exit, okay, So that's going to install. In the meantime, I'll show you how to add the user. So to do that, you can go to this PC in the workstation, click agree. So this is also going to install, let's see, loopback support for Nmap. We don't need to worry about that. Let's install this, and we can even look at wireless if we're going to be doing a wireless lab here. Click install. So click next, and we're finished. This is going to finish up over here. There's a lot of instructions and videos on how to use Wireshark out there. So that is really good. I mean, there's a ton of information on how to use Wireshark, but over here. So Wireshark is a packet sniffer. So it sniffs everything that is happening over the network. So if I double click Wireshark, we're going to open the FTP program once we start capturing packets with Wireshark. And FTP it's not a secure protocol, so whatever you type in here through FTP over the network is like plain text. Wireshark is able to capture that, and you're able to see everything that is going on the network. So let's open up Wireshark here. And this is a brand new program that I haven't used Wireshark in 3 years, so this looks very different. I can see that it's already monitoring data, packet information on the Ethernet interface. You can focus on one of the interfaces that we have, but Ethernet is really what we want to do. There's a lot of other cool things here, like you can capture Bluetooth data. So if you're communicating with your phone over Bluetooth to like a wireless headphone jack, you can actually capture if it's connecting through a computer, or if this computer is connected through a Bluetooth network, you can actually see what's going on. So if you're connecting from this computer to a Bluetooth headphone jack, you should be able to see the traffic. There's a lot of statistics that you can grab out of here as well, and basically I'm going to say that I want to start capturing from my Ethernet, and we're only going to capture a few seconds of it because it fills up data quite a bit. It's looking at every noise that's happening. So it looks like we have we're already capturing here. So I'm gonna say restart current capture here. Okay, so it's already starting to capture. So I'm gonna open Core FTP. And remember how we have our password over here? So let me put the wrong password first. And that's not going to work, so I'm going to have to do it again. Right, user cannot log in. So let's do a quick connect again. Actually, let's go back here and let's put the correct password. Connect, and we are in. So let's stop capturing the packets and let's see what kind of stuff we're looking at here. Alright, so the reason why I had you go only for a few seconds is because you can see that in a few seconds we capture so much over here. Right, so quite a lot of stuff, and we can start with the first thing that it did. Let's analyze this a little bit. So this is looking at my machine, which is my Windows 10 machine, which is that 192.168.1.101, and it's looking for what's happening on the network. So there's a lot of junk here. There's a lot of things that the network does automatically, right? It's doing some address resolution protocol, right? It says who has this IP address, and then tell the server who has it, right? So this is all these packets that you see here are constantly updating and updating and updating. But look at this, right? We started off and we opened the Microsoft, we started off the FTP program, and it says request require user. Guess what? The user that I put in was user1. So I just found out what the user is. So it's user1, and then it says password require. And guess what password I typed in wrong? Hey students, right? User cannot log in. Then it started looking at what else was there, blah blah blah. And then it says, hey, what is the username? User1. And then I put in the correct password. And then so I just capture passwords over the network right now. So if you're working with unsecured things, you will be able to capture data over the network. Okay, so those are some of the things that you can do. And by the way, you can, if it works the way that it used to work, you can double click the packet, and you can actually go into in depth and look at everything that was happening at that particular moment. So this is an amazing tool. Now I want to show you a video clip of another tool. Okay, so you're going to be capturing packets with your machine, with your virtual workstation. Okay, all you have to do, you can either save the text, or you can copy a screenshot of this and send me a screenshot on the report. Alright, I'm not gonna save it, but I want to show you a quick video clip of some of the hacking tools that are used out there. And in fact, Wireshark inside has a tool called Nmap, this little tool, but I'm not going to have you run it, but I want to show you a video clip of what that tool does. Alright, so one of the things I forgot to mention is that you can download the latest and greatest versions of everything we're doing by going to the websites. You can also download the Mac version of all these things. So if you're using a Mac and you prefer to use a Mac for things, you can do that. Alright, real quick, let's start with showing you the video that I promised. And we'll start off here.
Used by hackers to scan networks so we can find live hosts or find targets to hack. And we can also use this tool to find out more information about these targets, a process called enumeration. So in this video, we're going to break down Nmap. I'll show you how to use it. I'll show you how it works. Let's do it. Oh, and by the way, if you want to go deeper than what I'm showing you here, check out IT Pro TV. They are the sponsor of my hacking journey. They're my primary learning source. And if you use my link below or code NetworkChuck, you'll get 30% off everything forever. So check them out. Oh, and by the way, you can install Nmap anywhere. Windows, Mac OS, Linux, and you're going to see me using Kali. Nmap is amazing. Let me show you why. Let's say I have a server on my network, and I do, 10.7.1.226. How would I typically find out if that host is there up and running? Well, I would just use ping, right? Ping 10.7.1.226. Okay, bam, I'm getting a response, it's up. Now that's fine for pinging one device, but what if I want to ping an entire network? It becomes kind of a problem. So my home network here is 10.7.1.0/24, which means that this network could have 254 hosts or endpoints that I could attack. Again, who wants to sit here and ping 254 hosts? Not this guy, so let's use Nmap. I'll use the command Nmap and then a switch. It'll be lowercase s capital P and then my network. And go. And in 2.71 seconds, I found out that 15 hosts were up. Here's the list right here. That's amazing. Do it in your network right now. Okay, alright, we automated the pinging of hosts in a network. Big deal, Chuck? You're right. Nmap can do a lot more. A lot more. Like, check this out. You see, as a hacker, just knowing these hosts are up is not good enough for me. I need more info than that. If I look at the scanning methodology that the EC Council goes by, we just covered step 1, checking if systems are alive. But now we want to look at step 2. Check for open ports. Let's say my goal is to hack websites, and I want to find all endpoints or servers in my network that are running a website. What am I going to look for? Well, typically look for port like 80 or port 443. These ports will typically be open on a server if they're running a website. That's how people access them, by accessing those ports. With Nmap, we can find that information super fast. Check this out. I'm going to throw a sudo in here and then do nmap dash or tick lowercase s capital T. I'll explain that here in a moment. And then say I'm looking for servers using port 80 and 443, I'll do a dash P and then 80 and 443. And then I'll specify my network 10.7.1.0/24. Let's go. Oh, sudo password. Now let's go. Coffee break. That was incredibly fast. Oh my gosh. 2.39 seconds. Yes. Okay. So what do we find? Well, here's the scan report for the host 10.7.1.211. We can see that port 80 and 443 are both closed. So probably not a web server. Safe to assume. But host 271.226, bam. Both of these ports are open. Probably, maybe a web server.
So one of the things to notice is that he's using a Unix machine for this, but the same thing, it works on a Windows machine. You may have like a graphical interface with Nmap, and Wireshark is using Nmap embedded inside, by the way, to grab its information.
We can quickly scroll through our results and see what other open ports we have. Like here's another one, and it just has port 443 open. Now this is cool, but even cooler is how it actually works. Check this out. Looking at my nmap command, I use the switch -st or tick st. This is a type of port scan called a TCP connect, or you might see it as a full open scan. And the magic is in the TCP, using the three-way handshake. I just said a lot of words. What is all that? If you don't know, I'm going to cover it real quick right now. Let's first start with what is TCP. It's a protocol, the Transport Control Protocol, and what you got to know about it right now is that when, let's say, my computer wants to talk to a server or even another computer, it's the TCP protocol, a networking protocol that tells us how we communicate. How do we start the conversation? How do we keep it going? The rules for starting and establishing this conversation are often referred to as the three-way handshake. And it's what Nmap actually uses to do all its magic, to check if ports are open. And essentially, here's how it works. Let's say this is a web server and it's serving up davidbombal.com. If I want to visit davidbombal.com, I have to start a conversation with that server. So I'll start out by sending davidbombal.com a message saying, davidbombal.com, hey, I got something to tell you. I want to talk to you. Are you there? And this is referred to as a SYN packet or a synchronization message. Now, because davidbombal.com is a web server, I want to talk to him on port 443. So that's where I'm sending this. I'm saying, hey, davidbombal.com on port 443, are you awake? If he is, if he's listening on that port, he should respond.
So that's the beauty of the TCP protocol, is that it provides you feedback if the host is responding, right? It's not like UDP, for example, where it only goes out there and good luck if it got it. TCP goes out there and does the little handshake and come back and says, yeah, I got it.
Saying, yep, I am awake, I am here, I'm ready to talk. This is referred to as a SYN ACK. And I'm like, yeah, let's talk, let's do this. So I respond back with a ACK. Yeah. I'm here, I'm ready, let's talk. Three-way handshake. And this is what Nmap uses to see if the ports are open. Now we have a little bit of a problem. You see, commands like this, scans like this on a network might be a bit intrusive. You see security features like an IDS, which is an intrusion detection system that's often built into firewalls, might catch on to this. Might get you in trouble, might stop you in your tracks, but we can be a bit more stealthy. Here's what we can do. Well, instead of using the switch -st, we'll use the switch -ss. So lowercase s, capital S. Show you what that means here in a second. Script scanning and trace route. All those words, we'll look at it right now. Sudo nmap -a and my host. And go. Now this one was busy. It was doing a lot. 128 seconds. But let's check out what we found. Found some pretty amazing stuff. We've got the SSH host key, the version of SSH we're using. It learned that we're using Apache on port 80, Red Hat Linux, doing some file sharing. Look at that. And then to top it all off, we have a trace route to see how far away it is from us and the network. That's amazing. Let's do my Windows machine real quick.
Okay,
Same command, different host.
Let me see if there's a little bit more that we can see here. So this is amazing. If you want to look at this, just YouTube, use Nmap. Nmap tutorial to find network vulnerabilities. It is amazing, so I would highly recommend it. So let's look a little bit more here.
He's the founder of the site. He's a hacking genius. Go follow him. I'll put a link below. Oh, by the way, content on these will be coming. They're pretty cool. Now, this was just a quick overview of Nmap and why it's amazing. If you want to become a hacker, if you want to get your CEH or any other hacking certification, you do need to become more familiar than what I just covered with Nmap. Here's some of the other switches you might want to learn. Put these on note cards, practice them, lab them, understand what they are, understand how networking works with these situations. I forgot to cover this right here, actually, the speeds. You can lower the speed in which it scans things so you can avoid being detected. The default is T3, which is a pretty normal speed scan, as it says. Please don't consider this a deep dive on everything you need to know for scanning and enumeration. I showed you Nmap and some really fun things we can do with it. If you want to dive deeper, which I encourage you to, in fact, I'm hoping this video makes you dive deeper, go check out IT Pro TV. I only have like one 16-minute video, and they have a bunch of videos that you can go and dive deeper with. Not to mention they have virtual labs that you can just immediately start playing with stuff. You don't have to set up a lab, it's just there, you play with it, it's awesome. Alright, I'm capturing packets, let's do that one more time. 226. If I don't specify a port, nothing bad happens. It just will automatically, by default, scan the top 1,000 ports, or most popular ports. And seeing that number makes you think, wow, it's going to take forever. It actually doesn't. Let's do it real quick. I'll click go, and it's done. Like I told you, 0.17 seconds. Now I'll do it again with Wireshark running. Alright, I'm capturing packets. Let's do that one more time. Done. Going to filter by this IP address, and we'll look at one of these conversations here. And it's beautiful, just like what we talked about. Here's my Nmap, here's my target, port 443, I've got my send message. I get a send ACK back from my target, and then I send an ACK back saying, everything's good, buddy, let's talk on port 443. A full TCP connect, and then I'm like, you know, I didn't have much to say, I'm going to end this conversation. This flag right here, this RST, is another flag that is just a reset or ending the conversation on a TCP conversation. Now let's check out the stealthy one. I'm going to start my...
Okay, so that gives you an idea, right? He's using Nmap, he's using Wireshark, and he's talking about all the acronyms that we have learned and we have used throughout the labs. Alright, so we're ready for lab number 3. And that project 3 has some pretty neat things. We're going to simulate networks and things like that. So, be ready.